comes easy on a back road lane. Golden light falling on a window pane, coffee on the stove, and a cool wind blowing slow, and a prayer rises up where the tall fields grow. He reads a little scripture by the kitchen light, lets those words settle in and set his spirit right. Pours his coffee black, pulls his old cap down, and steps out in the stillness of a sleepy little town. There's a white frame house and a field out back, an old Ford pickup on a two-rut track. There's a woman he loves with a gentle smile, who's been a steady heart through every mile. He's known dry summers and hard luck years, fought his way through trouble, doubt, and tears. But every time the world tried to pull him low, he found his strength in the one above to hold. When the road turns hard and the night runs long, he holds on tighter to what keeps him strong. Through the wind, through the worry, through the ache and the weight, he leans his whole life on a cowboy's faith. It's a cowboy's faith when the sky turns black, when the world says no, he won't look back. Boots in the dirt, heart lifted high, holding on strong when the well runs dry. It's a hand on the wheel and a soul unafraid, standing tall in the middle of the rain. When the thunder rolls and the hard times wait, he keeps riding on a cowboy's faith. He taught his children underneath Friday night lights, stand for what's true and live your wrongs right. Don't trade your name just to please the crowd, and always walk away that make the good Lord proud. Sunday morning in a pinewood church, he sings through the joy and he sings through the hurt, a little rough around the edges, but every word is real, like heaven knows exactly how a faithful heart can feel. And the woman beside him knows the kind of man, quiet in his ways but steady in his stand. He ain't one for talk, but you can see it plain, he's the kind that walks through fire and don't complain. It's a cowboy's faith when the sky turns black, when the world says no, he won't look back. Boots in the dirt, heart lifted high, holding on strong when the well runs dry. It's a hand on the wheel and a soul unafraid, standing tall in the middle of the rain. When the thunder rolls and the hard times wait, he keeps riding on a cowboy's faith. Cowboy's faith, that's what carries him through. Cowboy's faith, when the night cuts through. Cowboy's faith, when the hurt won't fade and the prayer gets prayed. He won't run, he won't break, he stands on love and cowboy's faith. Now the years rest easy on his hands and face, but time can't take what the Lord's grace gave. He's buried old friends and he's walked alone, still found peace every time he made it home. He knows his life is a borrowed flame, more than money, more than fame, so he loves his people with all he's got, and thanks the Lord for every little thing he's caught. When the answers don't come, he still believes there's mercy beyond what these eyes can see, and that kind of fire don't just fade away, it burns a little brighter every passing day. When the fence line breaks and the creek runs high, when tears won't fall and you don't know why, when the bottom drops and you're down that far, face what shows you who you are. Not in the easy, not in the clear, but in the fight that brought you here. When all you got is one last prayer, that's when you find out God is there. It's a cowboy's faith when the sky turns black, when the world says no, he won't look back. Boots in the dirt, heart lifted high, holding on strong when the well runs dry. It's a hand on the wheel and a soul unafraid, standing tall in the middle of the rain. When the thunder rolls and the hard times wait, he keeps riding on a cowboy. It's a porch light burning when the night runs long, a quiet kind of ride when the world feels wrong. It's a kind of strength you may not always trace, but you can see it shine on a weathered face. When the devil whispers, son, it's too late, he lifts his eyes and he don't shake. Through every trial this life creates, he keeps on living on cowboy's faith. Yeah, when the cold wind blows and the blue skies break, he keeps on riding on a cowboy's faith. Sweet cowboy's faith. There's a road runs out past the edge of town, past the old feed store where the sun goes down. And at the end of it all, through the dark and the dawn, there's a little white house with the porch light on. I've seen hard miles and white line nights, fought my share of storms and county line fights. I've chased old dreams till they ran me thin, and swore I'd never come back again. But a man gets tired of running fast, of looking ahead while I'm running his past. And somewhere between the herd and the gone, I remember that house with the porch light on. When the world gets cold and the road gets long, there's a place that says you still belong. No matter how far your boots have gone, there's mercy waiting with the porch light on. There's a porch light on at the end of the lane, a little bit of love in the falling rain, a front door open, no judgment there, just arms wide open and a whispered prayer. When this old life leaves me tired and worn, there's a safe place waiting like the break of morn. No matter how lost, no matter how long, there's a way back home with the porch light on. Mama used to stand there in that screen door frame, call my name soft like a summer rain. Dad'd lean back in that old wood chair, like he knew one day I'd need them there. And time moved on like time will do. It took some folks that love, took some pieces too. But that front porch still feels just as strong, like it's holding the world where I come from. There's a porch light on at the end of the lane, a little bit of love in the falling rain, a front door open, no judgment there, just arms wide open and a whispered prayer. When this old life leaves me tired and warm, there's a safe place waiting like the break of morn. No matter how lost, no matter how long, there's a way back home with the porch light on. Porch light on, shining through the dark. Porch light on, like a faithful heart. Porch light on, when the night feels strong, you can always find your way with that porch light on. Now I've got a little place of my own, down a gravel drive where the good grass grows. And sometimes late when the day runs long, I leave that old front porch light on. For my children, for my friends, for anybody beat up by where they've been. 'Cause I know what it means when your hope is gone, to see love still burning with the porch light on. It ain't just a bulb in the evening air, it's a promise somebody still cares. It's forgiveness shining through the blue, saying there's still a place for you in a world that changes right and wrong. That little light keeps hanging on like grace in the quiet before the dawn, still burning steady with the porch light on. There's a porch light on at the end of the lane, a little bit of love in the falling rain, a front door open, no judgment there, just arms wide open and a whispered prayer. When this old life leaves me tired and worn, there's a safe place waiting like the break of morn. No matter how lost, no matter how long, there's a way back home with the porch light on. piece of heaven with the porch light on. Through every heartbreak, every right, every wrong, it says you're still loved when you come back home. When the miles get heavy and the nights drag on, there's still hope waiting with the porch light on. Yeah, no matter how far, no matter how gone, there's a way back home with the porch light on. Sunlight falls through the tall pine trees. Morning rolls in on a Georgia breeze. Gravel crunching under Sunday shoes, and a church bell rings with the morning news. There's a white clapboard church on a little red hill, where time moves slow and the world stands still. Mama's in dresses, daddy's in boots, the young ones fidgeting in their pressed up suits. Oh, been talking by the front steps wide, shaking hands with a weathered pride. And every face I've known for years looks a little softer standing here. Inside those walls where the pine boards shine is peace I don't always get to find. And when that preacher opens up the word, it feels like heaven leans close to be heard. For one quiet hour the week fades away, all the hurt and the worry don't have much to say. And a man can remember who he's meant to be, down on his knees where his heart gets free. It's Sunday in the pines where the good Lord meets us, in the old hymn sung by the ones who need him. Hands raised high, heads bowed low, grace rolls in like the river flows through the heart of the South, through the soul of time. There's peace like I've never found anywhere else in life. When the world gets loud, I know where to find a little bit of heaven on Sunday in the pine. Sister Johnson plays that old upright, a little out of tune, but it feels just right. Voices rise in amazing grace, and tears come easy on more than one face. The preacher talks about prodigal sons and all the battles that faith has won, about mercy strong enough to save a man even when he don't quite understand. And I think about Daddy with his folded hands, the way he stood for truth like a rock in this land. And Mama singing with her eyes closed tight, like she already saw the other side. It's Sunday in the pines where the good Lord meets us, in the old hymn sung by the ones who need him. Hands raised high, heads bowed low, grace rolls in like the river flows through the heart of the South, through the soul of time. There's peace like I've never found anywhere else in life. When the world gets loud, I know where to find a little bit of heaven on Sunday in the pine. Sunday in the pine, where the lost get found. Sunday
tall under mercy's light, every weary soul can find rest on Sunday in the pines. Now the years keep rolling like the seasons do. Some folks are gone and some pews hold new, but the spirit there still feels the same, like the Lord still knows us all by name. I've walked in heavy with a troubled mind and left that place with a lighter stride. Something about those old pine walls makes a man hear truth above it all. And when my own hair turns winter gray and my hands don't work like they do today, I pray I'm still there when the choir starts, letting those old songs wash over my heart. It ain't the wood, it ain't the paint, it ain't perfection, and it sure ain't fame. It's a gathered hearts, a shared amens, the kind of hope that heals a man in a world of noise and shifting sands. There's still a rock on which we stand, and under those trees through all the time, he still shows up on Sunday. It's Sunday in the pines where the good Lord meets us, in the old hymn sung by the ones who need him. Hands raised high, heads bowed low, grace rolls in like the river flows through the heart of the South, through the soul of time. There's peace like I've never found anywhere else in life. When the world gets loud, I know where to find a little bit of heaven on Sunday in the pines. It's a front pew prayer and a back row tear, a mama soft amen that still rings clear. It's children learning what forever means in the hush of light through evergreen. When the road gets rough and the soul feels worn, and little church helps me carry on, with faith made strong and a clearer mind. I thank God for Sunday in the pines. Yeah, when this world gets hard and I need a sign, I find my peace on Sunday in the pines.
Dust dance softly in the window light. Sunday morning gold still and bright, and on the table by a reading chair laid a worn old hymn book waiting there. Mama had a way of turning pages slow, like every word was something heaven wrote. Her fingers traced the lines in faded ink, and every song gave weary hearts a place to breathe. I can still hear her in that little house, soft and strong, singing clear somehow. No stage, no spotlight, no grand parade, just a woman full of faith and amazing grace. There were tear-stained corners, a broken spine, verses marked up through the hard old times, and every crease and every dog-eared page held the prayer she prayed when life got hard to face. When the nights got long and the money ran thin, she'd open that book and let the light back in, and somehow the fear in the room would fade when Mama sang those words in faith. Mama's old hymn book, worn by love and time, full of hallelujahs, tears, and healing lines. It carried our family through the dark somehow. It still speaks peace to me right now. boy sat quiet in his Sunday best, head bowed low with his hands at rest. Me and my brothers, we'd all fall still when Mama's voice climbed those windowsills. She sang through sickness, she sang through loss, sang when we were hanging on by the cross, sang when the world felt cold and mean, like heaven was closer than what we'd seen. And I remember one night the power went out, rain beat hard on the roof of the house. By candlelight she opened up that book, and peace came pouring from the way she looked. Mama's old hymn book, worn by love and time, full of hallelujahs, tears, and healing lines. It carried our family through the dark somehow. It still speaks peace to me right now. From amazing grace to how great thou art, those old songs still live inside my heart. When I need hope, that's where I look. Mama's old hymn book, Mama's old hymn book still sings to me. Mama's old hymn book sets my soul at ease. Mama's old hymn book, like a light in the night when I lose my way, it brings me back to life. Through every sorrow that I took, there was grace in Mama's old hymn book. Now the years have rolled like a river on, and Mama's gone where the saints have gone. But I keep that book by my bedside stand, like a piece of her heart still rests in my hand. Sometimes when the hurt won't let me sleep, I turn those pages and I just read, and I swear I can hear her sweet voice again, rising like a prayer through the ache I'm in. It ain't just paper and it ain't just song, it's a place my faith first learned to be strong. A legacy of love that still pulls me through with every line she once held to. There's power in a memory touched by grace, and the kind of love that time can't erase. And though the hands that held it now are gone, the truth inside those words still carries on. In every trial, in every tear, I hear her faith still whisper near. And when I need strength to make it through, I find her there in every tune. Mama's old hymn book, worn by love and time, full of hallelujahs, tears, and healing lines. It carried our family through the dark somehow. It still speaks peace to me right now. From amazing grace to how great thou art, those old songs still live inside my heart. When I need hope, that's where I look. Mama's old hymn book, Mama's old hymn book, through the joy and pain, helped us hold on. When the sky poured rain, it taught my heart where mercy stood, and led me back when I was no good. Now every page feels like sacred ground, where faith and love are still around. And when this life leaves me shook, I find my peace in Mama's old hymn book. Yeah, when I need hope and the world feels shook, I still find peace in Mama's old hymn book.
There's a two-lane ribbon cutting through the pines, where the red dirt rolls in the fence post line. And every mile marker, every bend I know feels a little more like home. I've run these roads since I was just a kid. Learned a lot about life from the way they twist. From the creek bed bridges to the cotton fields, to the way a quiet sunset makes a hard man feel. There's an old church steeple just beyond the rise, and a little graveyard where some of my people lie. And every time I pass, I slow it down like I'm driving through sacred ground. I've seen the city lights and the fast lane lights, heard a whole lot of noise and a whole lot of pride, but the truth hits different where the blacktop ends and the gravel starts talking again. Out where the world gets still enough to hear, a man can lay down every doubt and fear and feel the weight of heaven in the wind blowing through these fields again. It's a back road to heaven, winding through my soul, past the fields and the faith and the life I know, with the tires humming low and the windows down and the Lord's good grace all around. Yeah, back road to heaven ain't paved in gold, it's dirt and dust and a heart made whole, where the lost get found and the broken mend on that back road to heaven again. There's a mailbox leaning and a barn paint faded red. There's a woman on a porch with a smile ahead. There's kids in the yard and a dog raised high, and a piece you just can't buy. My daddy used to say, son, don't chase too far. The things that shine ain't always what they are. Sometimes the richest life a man can live is right where the good Lord says to dig in. And I think on that with every mile, with my hand on the wheel and a prayer in style. There's something in these simple things that makes a weary heart wanna sing. It's a back road to heaven, winding through my soul, past the fields and the faith and the life I know, with the tires humming low and the windows down and the Lord's good grace all around. Yeah, back road to heaven ain't paved in gold, it's dirt and dust and a heart made whole, where the lost get found and the broken mend on that back road to heaven again. Back road to heaven, that's where I go. Back road to heaven when I need hope. Back road to heaven where my spirit can breathe, where the hurt rolls off and the heart believes. Every mile feels like a friend on that back road to heaven again. Now I ain't saying life gets easy there. Trouble still comes and sorrow still wears, but there's a kind of peace in the countryside that lets a man know he'll be alright. You can see God's hand in the tall grass sway, in the morning dew and the close of day, in the old oak tree, in the mockingbird song, in the truth that's been there all along. And someday when my road runs out, when my name gets whispered soft in a crowd, I pray the Lord lets my spirit ride one last sunset on that countryside. It ain't about riches, it ain't about fame, it's about knowing who to thank and call by name. It's about grace in the everyday and finding light on an ordinary way. When the world gets loud and the soul gets tired, these old back roads still lift me higher, like a prayer rolled out through the southern wind, calling me home again. It's a back road to heaven, winding through my soul, past the fields and the faith and the life I know, with the tires humming low and the windows down and the Lord's good grace all around. Yeah, back road to heaven ain't paved in gold, it's dirt and dust and a heart made whole, where the lost get found and the broken mend on that back road to heaven again. It's a long town, a quiet kind of truth where the walls come down. It's a slow sunset on a southern breeze, and a little more mercy than a man might need. When the world runs fast and I need a friend, I can find my peace around every bend, and my soul comes alive where the blacktop ends, on that back road to heaven again. Yeah, where the blacktop ends and the good grace begins. I find my way on that back road to heaven again. There were nights I was more dream than man, with empty pockets and big white plans, just a hopeful heart and a worn-out Chevrolet, and she smiled at me anyway. I was long on pride and short on pay, still trying to find my own way, chasing sunsets down old county roads, and more want than what I could hold. I didn't have much to offer then, a little bit of trouble, a lot of wind, but she looked past all my rough edge seams and saw a better man in me. She never laughed at the things I'd say, never turned those crazy dreams away, when the whole world felt like maybe and maybe not. She loved the man I was and the one I was not. When I was all doubt and dust and doubt, she was the fire that didn't burn out. And when I couldn't see what life could be, she saw it clear for both of us. She believed in me when I was just holding on, when the nights were long, the road felt wrong. She believed in me when I had my back to the wall, when I had next to nothing, she gave me her all. Yeah, she stood by my side through the hurt and the climb, loved me steady one day at a time, when I couldn't see what I was gonna be. She believed in me. There were bills piled up on the kitchen table, days I felt anything but able, but she'd pour the coffee, take my hand, and make this broken world feel like a plan. She wore faith like a Sunday dress, made hard times feel a little less, and somehow in that quiet way, she could turn fear into better days. She's the reason this house feels warm, the calm in every kind of storm, the voice that says don't you give in yet, when my heart starts drowning in regret. She believed in me when I was just holding on, when the nights were long and the road felt wrong. She believed in me when I had my back to the wall, when I had next to nothing, she gave me her all. Yeah, she stood by my side through the hurt and the climb, loved me steady one day at a time, when I couldn't see what I was gonna be. She believed in me. She believed in me. She believed in me when I was still lost. She believed in me. She believed in me through the pain and cost. She believed in me like heaven believed in grace. And every time I fell apart, she helped me find my place.
what I am today I'd never be if she hadn't believed in me. Now the years have softened up my ways and filled our life with better days. There's laughter in these walls we made, and thank the Lord our love still stays. Sometimes I look across the bed at the woman lying there instead of all the roads I could have gone. She's the reason I made it home. And if I live 100 years, I'll still thank God through every tear for sending me the kind of love that lifts a man when life gets rough. It ain't always diamonds, it ain't always roses. Sometimes it's holding on when the hard wind blows. It's a hand in the dark and a heart that stays, a light in the night when you've lost your way. She didn't love me for what I own. She loved the soul beneath the stone. And that kind of love is rare and true, the kind of man spends his whole life holding to. She believed in me when I was just holding on, when the nights were long and the road felt wrong. She believed in me when I had my back to the wall, and I had next to nothing. She gave me her all. Yeah, she stood by my side through the hurt and the climb, loved me steady one day at a time. When I couldn't see what I was gonna be, she believed in me. She believed in me when I was weary and worn, when my hope was thin and my pride was torn. She believed in me through every broken plan and loved me into a better man. Now every prayer and every dream I see has her sweet hand all over me. And if there's one true thing this whole life needs, it's the way she believed in me. Yeah, when I was just a man with a little lost dream, she saw the best in me. She believed in me. There's a line of trucks by the football field, old folks talking about a good corn yield. Kids run wild with a Coke in hand, and the marching band warms up the stands. Cheerleaders laughing by the painted gate. Daddy checks his watch, says we ain't late. Mama in the bleachers, jacket on, trying not to cry when the team runs on. And me, I still feel that same old fire, same small town dream, same deep desire. Something about the way those lights cut through makes a man remember what got him through. It ain't just the game, it ain't just the noise, it's where we learned faith, where we became boys, where hearts got broken, hope got built under Friday skies on red dirt fields. I'm a Friday night believer in the lights in the town and the old marquee dreamers, in the band playing strong and the crowd singing loud, and the pride of the folks that still show up proud. Yeah, stay hit and still stay mended, how to bow our heads when a friend got hurt, and how to stand back up and put in the work. Coach used to say life will test your soul, you don't quit just cause you lose control, and those words still ring when the road gets steep, like a hometown promise a man can keep. I'm a Friday night believer in the lights in the town, in the old marquee dreamers, in the band playing strong, in the crowd singing loud, in the pride of the folks that still show up proud. Yeah, I believe in the way this town stands tall. When one of us hurt, we all get the call, through the wind, through the loss, through the years and the weather. I'm a Friday night believer. Friday night believer. Friday night believer. That's who I'll always be. Friday night believer. In roots run deep. Friday night believer. In the red, white, and blue, and the folks on these back roads that'll see you through. When the world gets meaner, I'm a Friday night believer. Now the years move fast and the hair turns gray, but I still feel young in that old same way. When the field lights up and the anthem plays and the whole town stops at the end of the day, I see my daddy in the same old row with a little less hair but the same deep soul. Mama still claps when the home team scores, like not one thing changed from the days before. And now there's young ones of my own running free, chasing the same kind of memory, and I pray they learn what those nights gave me. Faith, grit, and community. It's more than a field and a painted line, it's where we learn to hold the line, where the preacher prays and the crowd grows still before the kickoff and the Friday chill. It's the heart of a town that won't let go of the things that matter most down home, and in a world that changes by the minute, thank God there's still some soul left in it. I'm a Friday night believer in the lights in the town and the old marquee dreamers, in the band playing strong, in the crowd singing loud, in the pride of the folks that still show up proud. Yeah, I believe in the way this town stands tall. When one of us hurts, we all get the call, through the wind, through the loss, through the years and the weather. I'm a Friday night believer. I believe in the porch, lots of prayers in the stands, in muddy cleats and hard working hands, and the tears mama hides and the joy she can't hide when her boy makes a run down the home sideline. Yeah, the world may change, but one thing's forever. This kind of faith holds a town together. Through the seasons of life, I'll hold on stronger. I'm a Friday night believer. Yeah, when the lights come on and the whole town gathers round, I still believe in this Friday night town. Sun comes up on a hard work town, boot heels hit and the day gets loud. Ain't much fancy in the life I choose, just a little bit of grit and dust on my boots. I punch that clock before the morning burns, earn every dime and the right to learn what sweat can build and what pride can prove, with two rough hands and some steel-toe shoes. I work the fence line, I've hauled that hay, I've bent my back for a weekly pay, and I ain't ashamed of the life I live, cause the Lord knows I give what I gotta give. There's calluses here where the ears wore in, and a little more gray where the black ones live, but every line on this face tells truth. I paid my dues with dust on my boots. I may not wear a tie downtown, but I stand just as tall on the sacred ground. A hard day's work and an honest name still means something where I came from. There's dust on my boots and pride in my soul, a back bent straight by the weight I hold. I walk through fire told me, son, don't run from a hard day's work when the job ain't fun. A man's made more by the load he bears than the shine he buys or the style he wears. So I carried that with me all these years, through busted knuckles and hidden tears, through layoff talk and no overtime, through the hard lean months when we barely got by. But there was supper hot when I walked through that door, a woman I love worth working for, and little voices hollering down the hall that made every ache feel worth it all. There's dust on my boots and pride in my soul, a back bent straight by the weight I hold. I've walked through fire, I've stood my ground, built my life where the red dirt's found. I ain't rich, but I've got the truth and a good Lord's grace to see me through. Yeah, I've made my way with nothing to lose, just faith in my heart and dust on my boots. Dust on my boots, that's how I'm made. Dust on my boots, from the life I've led. Dust on my boots, and I wear it proud, like a badge of honor. Ain't no need to hide it now. You can keep your high dollar suits, I'm just fine with dust on my boots. Now my hands ain't soft and my shirt ain't clean, but I built a life on what hard work means. And when I lay down at the close of day, I sleep just fine in the bed I made. There's a kind of peace in an honest ache in knowing your soul didn't bend to break. And when Sunday comes and I bow my head, I thank the Lord for the life I've led. Someday when they lay me in the ground, I hope they say I stood my ground, that I love my people, I told the truth, and I left this world with dust on my boots. It ain't about glory, it ain't about fame, about keeping your word and protecting your name. It's about showing up when the weather turns bad and giving your family the best you have. In a world full of talk, I still believe a man ought to work for what he needs, and there's still something righteous and resolute about faith and sweat and dust on your boots. There's dust on my boots and pride in my soul, a back bent straight by the weight I hold. I've walked through fire, I've stood my ground, building life where the red dirt's found. I ain't rich, but I've got the truth and a good Lord's grace to see me through. Yeah, I've made my way with nothing to lose, just faith in my heart and dust on my boots. There's a long dirt road in the life I've known, and every mile helped build this home. From the sweat on my brow to the scars I choose, I earned every step in these old work shoes. When the world looks down on the life I choose, I lift my chin and let them all see the proof of a hard-earned life that won't dilute. There's strength in a man with dust on his boot. Yeah, at the end of the day, when the work is through, I thank God above for the dust on my boots. Night falls slow on an empty room, moonlight hanging like a ghost of June, and a man sits still with his head bowed low, trying to find the strength he used to know. There's a bottle untouched by the side of the bed, and 1,000 hard thoughts running wild in his head. The house feels bigger when you're all alone, and every wall just echoes what is gone. He's fought his battles with his back to the wind, held on longer than he thought he could then. But tonight those hands feel tired and weak, and the words won't come like they used to speak. He stares at a picture in a silver frame, at the life he had and the love that changed. And somewhere between the hurt and despair, he whispers low, Lord, just meet me here. When the heart gets heavy and the soul feels worn, and the hope you had feels tattered and torn, sometimes all a man can reach for is one last door. So I'll say one more prayer in the dead of night, one more prayer when I'm too weak to fight, one more prayer the tears won't stop and I'm by the kitchen sink, singing old hymn soft while the coffee steams. Said, son, there'll be days when your heart gives way. That's when you pray, even if all you can say. And he hears that now in the midnight hush, as the hurt rolls in like a river flush. No fancy words, no polished plea, just a soul on its knees, begging to breathe. He ain't asking for money, he ain't asking for gold, just a little light for this road so cold. Just a reason to stand when the morning breaks, and one more chance for his heart to wait. So I'll say one more prayer in the dead of night, one more prayer when I'm too weak to fight, one more prayer and the tears won't stop, and I'm down to faith and all I've got. If there's mercy left for a broken man, if there's peace somewhere in your hands, then hear me now, meet me where I am. I'm saying one more prayer again, one more prayer. That's all I know. One more prayer before I let go. One more prayer from this aching heart when the world falls down and I come apart, when I've got nothing left to spare. Lord, I've still got one more prayer. Now the window shakes in the midnight rain, and the room still hurts with an old love's name. But something shifts in the quiet air, like grace just stepped into the darkness there. Not a loud voice, not a lightning sign, just a little peace falling in with time. And he breathes in deep for the first time, right, like maybe he'll make it through this night. He lifts his face and he wipes his eyes, and though the hurt's still there, so is life. And maybe that's enough when a soul's worn thin, to know the Lord still listens. Then it ain't always miracles and mountain moves, sometimes it's just enough to pull you through. A little bit of strength where there once was none, a little hope before the rising sun. And when a man's too broken to stand on pride, faith is what keeps him alive inside. Not by power, not by plan, but by mercy that still understands. So I'll say one more prayer in the dead of night, one more prayer when I'm too weak to fight, one more prayer and the tears won't stop, and I'm down to faith and all I've got. If there's mercy left for a broken man, if there's peace somewhere in your hands, and hear me now, meet me where I am. I'm saying one more prayer, yeah, one more prayer when the road gets steep, one more prayer when I've lost my sleep, one more prayer when my strength is gone and I need a reason to keep hanging on. Through every scar and every tear, I believe somehow you still draw near. And when this life feels too much to bear, Lord, I'll still bring one more prayer. Yeah, when I'm down to faith and the night's laid bare, I still believe in one more prayer.
I've worn some roads down with my own mistakes, held on too long and let good things break. Said words I wish I could take back now, but time don't stop and it don't slow down. I've watched old friends fade like summer rain, watch love move on and never look the same. And every year leaves a mark somehow, like that river cutting through the ground. There was a time I thought if I tried hard enough, I could turn around what I'd already lost. But the older I get, the more I learn. Some things in life just won't return. That river don't run back, and the hands of time don't turn like that. What's gone is gone, and what remains is how you live with the joy and pain. You can curse the dark or forgive the past. Thank the Lord for the good that lasts, and let your soul learn where it's at. 'Cause a river don't run back. Daddy used to tell me by the fishing line, son, don't waste your years fighting time. Take the lesson, take the love, take the scars, and thank God you made it this far. I didn't understand when I was young. I thought every battle could still be won, but life's got a way of humbling a man till he learns what's out of his hands. Now I see Mama in my memory clear, I hear her voice in the evening air. And though I'd give anything for one more day, I know some things were made to stay that way. That a river don't run back, and the hands of time don't turn like that. What's gone is gone, and what remains is how you live with the joy and pain. You can curse the dark or forgive the past. Thank the Lord for the good that lasts, and let your soul learn where it's at. 'Cause a river don't run back. River don't run back, no matter how you pray. River don't run back, it just rolls away. River don't run back, but grace can still remain, and peace can find a man who stops fighting yesterday. You can't undo the track when the river don't run back. Now I stand a little slower than before, and I don't chase ghosts like I once did, Lord. I've made my peace with the might of beens, and I hold more close the love I'm in. There's a woman waiting with the porch light glow. There's a life I built and a faith I know, and I'd miss it all if I stayed stuck in what slipped through these weathered hands too much. So I let that river tell me true. What's behind is gone, but the sky's still blue, and And if tomorrow comes, I'll meet it right with a thankful heart and open eyes. It ain't surrender, it ain't defeat. It's knowing when to lay pain down at your feet. It's trusting God with the things you can't change, and still loving life through the hate. There's freedom in finally letting go of what you can't bring back no more, and strength in the kind of man who can say amen to where he stands. That a river don't run back, and the hands of time don't turn like that. What's gone is gone, and what remains is how you live with the joy and pain. You can curse the dark or forgive the past. Thank the Lord for the good that lasts, and let your soul learn where it's at. 'Cause a river don't run back. Yeah, a river don't run back to the days gone by and the old dirt tracks. But love still lives and mercy stays, and there's still light in the break of day. So I'll hold on close to the ones I have, and thank the Lord for the good and bad. 'Cause every mile taught me where I'm at, and a river don't run back. There's a long day dying in a crimson sky. Boots by the doorway, stars coming alive, and all the noise of the world fades soft and slow when I walk through that door, and she holds me close. I've chased hard miles and I worked long days, carried my share of this life's rough weight, felt the strain of the road and the pull of the storm. But everything changes when I'm home in her arms. She don't need fancy words to calm me down. She just lays her hand where the hurt is found, and somehow that touch does what nothing else can. Turns a tired old soul back into a man. There's peace in her eyes like a Sunday morn, a quiet kind of love that keeps me warm. And when the world gets cold and the night gets long, I know where I belong. I'm home in her arms where the hurt lets go, home in her arms where the good love grows. When the world runs hard and I come undone, she puts me back together without saying much. Yeah, I've searched this life, and I know where my heart belongs. I'm home in her arms. There's a lamplight glow in the kitchen there, and the smell of supper in the evening air. Little things most men might pass right by mean more to me with every year and mile. She laughs soft low when I act too proud, sees right through all my rough-edged clouds, knows when to speak and when to just stay still, and love me stronger than my own strong will. I've seen beauty in 100 towns, but none of it slows my restless down like the way she leans her head on me and turns this house to peace. I'm home in her arms where the hurt lets go, home in her arms where the good love grows. When the world runs hard and I come undone, she puts me back together without saying much. Yeah, I've searched this life, and I know where my heart belongs. I'm home in her arms.
safe and sound. When the whole world shakes, she settles me down. And every road I've ever gone leads me home in her arms. Now the years may roll and the seasons change, silver touch our hair and time rearrange. But if the good Lord gives me years to hold, I'll still reach for her when the nights turn cold. And someday when the work's all done and we're watching dust trade places with sun, I pray I'm right there in that same sweet place, with her hand in mine and peace on my face. 'Cause in all this life, with its joys and scars, its open roads and its fallen stars, the truest thing these old eyes have known is love that feels like home. It ain't the walls, it ain't the land, it ain't the work of these two hands. It's the way she loves me through and through, makes a broken hole in the gray sky's blue. And when I count my blessings one by one, she's the answer at the end of every one. In a world that can leave a man worn and worn, there's still healing in her arms. I'm home in her arms where the hurt lets go, home in her arms where the good love grows. When the world runs hard and I come undone, she puts me back together without saying much. Yeah, I've searched this life and I know where my heart belongs. I'm home in her arms. Home in her arms, that's where the fear fades out. Home in her arms where love leaves no doubt. Through every hard year, through every right and wrong, she's the reason this restless heart could finally settle down. And if anybody asks me where I belong, and all along I was home in her arms. Don't last forever, no matter how it feels. Even the deepest hurt will one day start to heal. There's a promise in the darkness, if your heart can just hold on. Somewhere past the midnight, there's a breaking dawn. I've seen hard times hang like clouds for days, watched strong men bend beneath life's weight, heard mamas cry and children pray for the pain to finally pass away. I've stood in rooms where hope ran thin, where fear walked in and settled in, and I've learned the kind of faith it takes to trust there's light beyond the ache. There are nights when every road feels lost and every prayer feels double-crossed, but the good Lord's hand still moves unseen through the darkest places we have been. So hold on tight through the longest night, through every tear you cry, 'cause even when you can't see past the pain, the sun is gonna rise. When the morning comes, there'll be mercy in the light. When the morning comes, there'll be strength to stand and fight. When the morning comes, all the shadows start to run, and a weary heart remembers it ain't over, it ain't done. Yeah, no matter what you've been through, no matter what's gone wrong, there's hope waiting in the daylight when the morning comes. I think about mama's folded hands, daddy's voice saying, son, just stand, and all the miles that brought me here, through joy and loss and blood and tears. Every scar has taught me this, the bitter this old life will wind on down, and I'll lay these burdens in the ground. But until that day, I'll keep the faith and thank the Lord for each new day. I'll love my people, I'll do my best, lay my head down with a quiet chest. And if the night comes cold and deep, I'll trust the one who never sleeps. 'Cause I've seen enough to know by now, the rain gives way and the sun breaks out. And every valley, every trial faced can lead a man back into grace. It ain't denial, it ain't pretend, it's known a hurt don't get the final end. It's trusting there's a hand still holding on long before the first bird song. And when your heart feels almost gone and you can barely carry on, that's when heaven whispers low, child, just wait, the light's still coming on. When the morning comes, there'll be mercy in the light. When the morning comes, there'll be strength to stand and fight. When the morning comes, all the shadows start to run, and a weary heart remembers it ain't over, it ain't done. Yeah, no matter what you've been through, no matter what's gone wrong, there's hope waiting in the daylight. When the morning comes, there'll be peace for every pain. There'll be sun after the rain, and the hard night finally breaks. You'll see the love of God was with you through every step you had to take. So don't give up when the night feels long. Don't you quit when your strength is gone. There's a brand new mercy waiting on when the morning comes. Yeah, hold on strong. There's hope waiting with the dawn, and the dark won't last that long. When the morning comes, when the morning there's an old Ford sitting out behind the barn. Rust on the hood, but the spirit ain't gone. A little bit of elbow grease, a whole lot of pride, and we're bringing that old girl back to life. Daddy bought her back in '69, 3 on the tree and she ran just fine. Faded blue paint and a bench seat tear, but Lord, that truck had soul to spare. She hauled our hay and she hauled our dreams, crossed muddy creeks and county scenes. Sat a few years while the weeds grew high, but I never could let that memory die. So I rolled her out in the summer sun, said, boys, this job's gonna get done. Turned a wrench and turned back time with every spark and every line. It's an old Ford revival, busting rust and bringing back survival, turning old steel into something strong, like bringing a piece of the past back home. Yeah, an old Ford revival, oil-stained hands, a country Bible, a little hard work and a lot of heart. That's how old things get a brand new start. My young boy handed me a socket set, asked me if she'd ever run again yet. I said, son, some things are worth the wait. You don't give up just cause they ain't running straight. We changed the plugs and we primed the line. Knuckles got busted but we didn't mind. And when that engine finally turned and roared, it sounded like a hymn from the good Lord. It's an old Ford revival, busting rust and bringing back survival, turning old steel into something strong, like bringing a piece of the past back home. Yeah, an old Ford revival, old stained hands, a country Bible, a little hard work and a lot of heart. my boy riding right by my side. Ain't just a truck, it's blood and bone, a piece of where I'm from and what I've known. Proof that time can't kill what's true when you got enough love to pull it through. It ain't about chrome and it ain't about show. It's about bringing back what you can't let go. It's about hands, it's about faith, and teaching the next one what it takes to love something long after the shine is gone, and still believe it can roll on. That's the kind of truth country hearts live by under a southern sky. It's an old for revival, busting, rusting, bringing back survival, turning old steel into something strong, like bringing a piece of the past back home. Yeah, an old for revival, oil stained hands, a country Bible, a little hard work and a lot of heart. That's how old things get a brand new start. Yeah, an old for revival, it's more than a motor and an old windshield. It's daddy's laugh and a red dirt trail. It's every lesson that the years revealed. And when that engine growls and the tires roll on, it feels like the best of the past ain't gone, just waiting on a hand and a willing heart for an old for revival. Yeah, she's back alive. That old for revival. Ain't no stained glass on this old dirt road, just fence post fields and a heavy load. But I've seen enough in this simple travel to know there's grace in the gravel. I felt it rise with the morning sun, on a back road quiet before day's begun. In the sound of tires on a country lane, in the peace that falls like a gentle rain. I've seen God's hand in the smallest things, and mockingbird songs in the way weed leans, and a screen door slam and a dog bark late, and a wild sweet smile at the end of the day. It ain't always thunder, it ain't always light. Sometimes mercy comes soft in the middle of life. In the ordinary roads a man may travel, there's grace in the gravel. There's grace in the gravel under these wheels, in the simple life and the truth it reveals, in the dust that rises and the prayers unspoken, in the places where a heart's broken. Yeah, you don't need a mountain or a sky unraveled to know the Lord still walks where the road gets traveled. I found more peace than this world could ever sell. There's grace in the gravel. Seen city folks chase the neon glow, run so hard they forget what they know. But out here where the road gets rough, a man learns what's more than enough. A front porch swing and an evening breeze, kids in the yard and old shade trees, a little white church and a hand-me-down truth can still breathe life in an old worn soul. There's grace in the gravel under these wheels, in the simple life and the truth it reveals, in the dust that rises and the prayers unspoken, in the places where a heart's broken. Yeah, you don't need a mountain or a sky unraveled to know the Lord still walks where the road gets traveled. I found more peace than this world could ever sell. There's grace in the gravel. That's where I've seen it most, on the quiet country roads, where the proud get humbled down and the weary find their way back to solid ground. Through every mile I've traveled, I found grace in the gravel. Now I ain't saying life's been easy, Lord, I've carried pain I never asked for, but every bend and every scar brought me closer to where you are. And when my road runs thin someday, and my boots get set aside to stay, I pray they say I walked it well, and I saw heaven in the simple trail. It ain't in riches, it ain't in show, it's in the places only country hearts know. In the dirt, in the dust, in the daily bread, in the grace that lifts a tired bowed head. And if you've ever rode slow through a southern dusk with nothing but faith and a little trust, then you know exactly what I'm speaking of. When the gravel turns to love, there's grace in the gravel under these wheels, in the simple life and the truth it reveals, in the dust that rises and the prayers unspoken, in the places where a heart's broken. Yeah, you don't need a mountain or a sky to unravel to know the Lord still walks where the road gets traveled. I found more peace than this world could ever sell. There's grace in the gravel. Grows in a hand held tight and a slow sunset, in the little things I'll never forget. And when this life gets heavy and the way feels narrow, I still find hope in the wheel tracks there. Through every mile my heart has traveled, I found grace in the gravel. Yeah, down these old roads, there's grace in the gravel. Even settle slow on the edge of town, and another hard day is winding down. I've walked a long road, Lord, and now I see how much of this life was carrying me. I've chased some shadows, I've chased some light, I've won a few days, I've lost some nights. I've stood up proud, I've fallen low, and learned there's so much I still don't know. I've held on tight to things that fade, try to be strong in my own old way. Every road that brought me through kept pointing my heart back home to you. So if my strength gives out before the end and my voice grows weak from the road I've been, take these weathered hands and all I am and lead me home through the dark and the dust. Lead me home when I've run out of trust. Lead me home when my soul gets tired and the last of this old world's fire starts burning low. In these hands I hold, lead me home where the streets shine gold. When I've said all I can and I've stood alone, lead me home. I think of Mama singing soft and clear, Daddy's quiet prayers I still can hear, friends I love now long gone on, and the hope I have that they made it home. I think of the woman who held me near through the best of life and the hardest years, and if I've done any good at all, fall. Lead me home through the dark and the dust. Lead me home when I've run out of trust. Lead me home when my soul gets tired and the last of this old world's fire starts burning low. In these hands I hold, lead me home where the streets shine gold. When I've said all I can and I've stood alone, lead me home. Lead me home when the night rolls in. Lead me home past where I've been. Lead me home to mercy I can't earn, to the light of love at the end of every turn. When this old heart can't roam, lead me home. I ain't afraid like I used to be, not of the road, not eternity. 'Cause I've seen enough of grace down here to trust what waits when the end draws near. So till that day I'll live in love, thank the good Lord above. And when my final sunset glows, I'll close my eyes and just let go. It ain't about riches, it ain't about fame, it's about whose hand you call by name. When the world falls back and the silence grows and only heaven knows there's peace in laying burdens down and believing there's something beyond this town. And if I've learned one truth through every storm, it's that love goes on. Lead me home through the dark and the dust. Lead me home when I've run out of trust. Lead me home when my soul gets tired and the last of this old world's fire starts burning low. In these hands I hold, lead me home where the streets shine gold. When I've said all I can and I've stood alone, lead me home through the fear and pain, through every loss I can't explain. Lead me home when the shadows fall and I've got no strength left at all. With every prayer I've ever known and every seed of faith I've sown, I'll rest at last where love has grown. Lord, lead me home. Yeah, when this road is done and I finally let go, Lord, take my hand and lead